Okay, so welcome everybody. I see that we are being live streamed on YouTube. I'm sure some of you might have got a glimpse of our back end coordination for this webinar, but thank you for joining in. We're happy to have you all here today. My name is Tara Lokhanwala. I'm the senior psychologist at the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Wellbeing, and I'm really happy to invite all of you today for a very important discussion, which is university mental health. So, before we begin, let me set some context and set some ground foundation for our discussion today. So, university life is a time of exploration, independence, and personal growth for so many students. It's where students build lifelong friendships, discover their passions, and shape their futures. And more than just academic spaces, campuses can also be environments where students develop their emotional intelligence, learn self awareness, resilience, empathy, and the ability to navigate challenges, build relationships, and manage life's complexities. And these skills are essential not just for personal well being, but also for the success of future careers and relationships. But alongside these opportunities, this period marks a significant transition from childhood to adulthood. And navigating identity, life and career choices, relationships, academic stressors can further impact emotional well being. Many students face significant challenges with their mental health, and research shows that 1 in 4 students have a diagnosed mental health challenge. And for many, the transition for you to university can be overwhelming. In India, particularly, a 2019 study suggests by the Association of Indian Universities found that over 50% of college students experience high levels of stress, anxiety, or depression. This is a wonderful opportunity for universities to play a nurturing role and an active role in supporting student mental health, not just through counseling services, but by fostering an environment that prioritizes emotional well being, open conversations, and peer support. And this is where centers like the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Well-being, or SKU, play a crucial role. In addition to offering curative counseling services, SKU adopts a promotive and preventive approach by raising awareness through workshops and integrating mental health education into academic curriculum. And the goal here is to create thriving, compassionate communities and destigmatize mental illness. But to raise this awareness, it is essential for students, the primary stakeholders, to take the lead in fostering compassionate academic environments. With this in mind, and in recognition of University Mental Health Day, and this year's theme of no student should be held back by their mental health, we have invited 9 of our wonderful student representatives from across all Symbiosis campuses to shed light on this subject and encourage dialogue. It is through open conversations that we can come together to promote mental health awareness. And with that, I am very proud to introduce our mental health ambassadors. These are students who have volunteered for a year to support their campus counselors in conducting workshops, raising awareness, supporting their peers, and encouraging help seeking behaviors. These initiatives are designed to be student led, ensuring that mental well being becomes an integral part of university life. And with this, I would now like to invite our ambassadors to introduce themselves, maybe share a line or two of who you are and what you're passionate about, and maybe begin the discussion by telling us what emotional well-being means to you. So we'll introduce our students one by one. In no particular order, we'll start with Tanya Agarwal. Tanya from Hinjewadi. Over to you, Tanya.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Tanya Agarwal. I am from the SCM HRD Hinjwadi campus. I am very happy to be here today, and I'm really excited for our discussion. Some of my passions are swimming, reading. I love to write. I also love to watch TV shows and talk to people. I also love helping people. That is one of my main passions. So, what emotional well being means to me is being able to identify and taking care of your own emotions, as well as being mindful enough of other people's emotions and managing them. So, it's an entirely emotional intelligence that is really being exercised across people. Thank
Thank you, Tanya, and welcome to our discussion today. Next up, we have Divya from Noida.
Hello everyone, my name is Diya Bansal. I'm from SCMS Noida campus. I love to read, write, cook, and even binge watch a few of Netflix shows. And so for me, emotional well-being is moreover about navigating through my emotional downloads, and creating a support system for myself.
Thank you, Diya. We're happy to have you here with us today. Next up, we have Siddhi from Vimannagar, Pune.
Hello everyone, very good afternoon. So I am Siddhi Rajeshirke. I am from SLS campus Pune, Vimannagar, and for me, emotional well-being is especially not putting pressure on myself. Uh, like we are always choosing the hard decisions at times. So for me, emotional well-being is deciding that sometimes going with the easy decision is also okay and is also right. So yeah, thank you.
Well said, Siddhi. Thank you. Next, we have Khushi from Bangalore.
Hi everyone, I'm Khushi. I'm from the Symbiosis SIBM Bangalore campus. Um, a fun fact about me is that my name is Khushi Gambhir. It's an oxymoron, so it's really fun to see people react to it. For me, I think emotional well-being essentially means the ability for people to feel their emotions. I believe it gets very difficult for some people to do that, but I think once you do that and once you break through that, then it's a ride upwards for your mental health and emotional well-being.
Wonderful, Khushi. Thank you. Next, we have Shambhavi from Lovely.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shambhavi Khanna from SIHS campus, Lovely. And the course that I'm doing is Bachelor's of Science in Behavioral Health Sciences. A few of my passions could include reading and writing poetries, connecting with loved ones, and being in nature. And when I think about emotional well-being, for me, it would simply mean being at peace with where I am in life, accepting the changes in life, and trusting the course that everything will eventually fall into place.
Well said. Next, we have Nachiket from Nagpur.
A very good afternoon to each and all present here. I'm extremely happy to join this panel. I'm Nachiket from SMS Nagpur. I have my hobbies of cooking, reading stuffs related to psychology, and I like to spend quality time. My definition for emotional well-being would be more aware about your emotions and measure them so that it would be helpful for you. And that's it. And I would just like to say that no one else can know you better than yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Nachiket. Now, we have Vishnu from Nashik.
Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Myself, Shabari Vishnu. People call me Vishnu. So I'm from this cute campus, cute little campus, Siom Nashik. So my to give me describe myself, I'm a travel enthusiast. I like photography. I like to hit gym daily. Then for me, what emotional well-being is feeling balanced, resilient, and supporting in handling the life challenges by oneself. It's mainly about balancing your emotions. So that's it for my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu. We have Prachi from Vimannagar, Pune.
Hello everyone, good morning. I am Prachi Munga and I'm studying design in Symbiosis Institute of Design. And as you know, design comes with a lot of empathy that we need to put with every project. And so that is something I really work upon and I try to be better every day. Even like outside work. Other things which I really like to do is I like to cook, I like to meet friends, I like to read sometimes, I love watching movies, I love organizing events and being at events. So if you see, all these things come with a lot of socializing. And so when I talk about my emotional well-being, I would like to highlight how I like to create a balance between being a social person, being an extrovert, however, creating a safe space for myself where I need to be, and I don't have to be binded to just do something just because I am known as somebody who will say yes to an event. Something which, if I need my peace, if I need my comfort, if I need my own space, I choose to say no to other plans and be assertive about it, and just do what I need to do, because it comes with a lot of cost of living, be it physically or mentally. Thank you.
Thank you, Prachi. And we have Shashwat from Lovely.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shashwat Kumar, and I'm currently studying in SIT Pune, Lovely campus. You know, we tend to lose ourselves whenever we are on the path of life, right? Sometimes we may not identify ourselves or others, in fact. This is where emotional well being comes into play. I think keeping ourselves happy and everyone around us creates a better environment for us and the world itself. So that is what emotional well being means to me, and yeah, that's it from my side.
Wonderful, and a great way to start our discussion today. We're so proud to have all of you here talk about what emotional well being means to you and how you're practicing it in your day to day lives. I mean, of course, we try to walk the talk. So, while we're talking about emotional well being and mental health, we also want to be able to practice self care and incorporate different practices in our day while we work towards bettering ourselves and our emotional health. So, with that, I would like to start our discussion today. And since we understood emotional well being in a broad sense, what that means to you, how it plays out into your day to day life, how you practice certain things to support your well being, I also want to kind of narrow down our focus now in terms of universities and how emotional well-being plays out within this platform, within this setting, within a university setup. So with that, I'll go into my next question, which is, what does university mental health mean to you? And what I'll do is I'll open up a question. Feel free to add your points. I'd be happy to hear all of your inputs here, and as a group, we can also interplay and sort of feed in to each other's points. So if there's anything that resonates with you, feel free to add your thoughts. We want this discussion to be student led. So yes, with that, I'd open up the floor to the question: what does university mental health specifically mean to you?
So to me, university mental health is about knowing that you are not alone. Creating a space where struggle is not shameful and asking for support is not seen as weakness, where no student is left to fight their battles in silence and alone. See, because behind every confident face is someone just trying to figure it all out. And behind every smile is an untold story. All of us here are just trying to juggle between academics, and we're struggling with relationships, and simultaneously we are fighting the silent battles in our mind. And at times we don't even know how to ask for help, even when these battles are giving us wounds that nobody else has seen. And the pain that these wounds carry is something that even we can't fully understand at times. I'll be honest, I have experienced this and I've also seen this around me. And I think all of us must have noticed that at times loneliness lingers, even in the crowded rooms. There are friendships that fade, which once we thought would last forever, and that is painful. There are a lot of thoughts that keep us up at night, and then there's this weight of expectations that we carry. And a part of that weight is someone else's, but a part of it is even ours. Maybe we think that we'll be stepping into the best years of our lives, but no one actually prepares us for what truly happens when we realize that that particular rosy picture we had in our minds doesn't really resonate with us now. And reality never actually makes it into the movies. So we see that freedom we were seeking all along, and that excitement we were feeling, it's actually not that free. At times we might feel lost in a place we thought would be our fresh start, the much awaited fresh start. Suddenly the journey is no more about thriving, it's all about surviving. Some of us become people we don't recognize, and we might also pull away from the person we used to be. Some withdraw, some might pretend. And I feel that that is the main reason, that is why university mental health matters. Because at the end of the day, we all know grades matter, careers matter. But nothing in this whole world matters more than making it through with yourself intact.
Right. Well said, Shambhavi. And we want to be in a place where we're working towards thriving and not just surviving. And that people fight silent battles every day, whether it's loneliness, whether it's a feeling of isolation. And that's where, as a cohort, as a part of an academic setup, we can all play a role in making people feel more seen and heard. So, thank you for that. Anyone who would like to add to what Shambhavi has mentioned here?
Okay, so adding on to something she said, so I believe that this is a period where us young adults we enter into the university format for the first time, and we face a lot of challenges like surrounding around academic rigor, peer pressure, and related to the social status that recently everyone is getting used to. So I believe that in this particular context and compiling all of these factors, university mental health is about creating the space where these students or where us as a struggling person we feel supported, whether it can be via initiatives like counseling sessions, support groups, or certain set of events also.
So
Right,
I
right. Yes. Go ahead,
actually,
Tanya.
I actually would agree with Dia's point. So actually, I relate to it in a way that even I was new here. This is my first time to away from home. So, so university mental health to me is what my mind actually goes through while juggling academics, social life, trying to balance it. So it encompasses everything, all that we have to adjust to. Just like how Shambhavi said, we have a lot to adjust to, and sometimes we get alone. But I personally have faced issues with like the most basic thing, food. Now, I am a picky eater, so for me, it's a daily struggle, a daily hunt, ki aaj kya khaun. And that can be very frustrating. So when I get homesick, I also miss the food, not just the people or home. It's also food. So that becomes a daily struggle, living with new unknown people, studying courses you've never heard of. All of these challenges are faced like these are faced simultaneously. So what university mental health means to me is that like it is very underrated as everyone focuses on socials or academics committees and whatnot, but everyone forgets the fact that you're growing while being here, and while you are growing, your so is the world. So everything's happening at the same time, and it's hard to power through acting as if we're not going through anything, but mental health cannot be ignored. Thank you.
Very well said, Tanya. I think all of you really highlight some key points. Right? There's all these daily challenges, even when it comes to nutrition or when you're changing city or changing country. We have also quite a few international students on our campuses as well. And when you're changing a city or a state or a culture and you have to adapt to the new location, the new food, that's a lot to sort of transition into, and adjustment can be very tricky. And India also makes an interesting point about when there's a gap between our current self and our ideal self, and when people want to, when they have certain goals for themselves that they want to reach, and they want to display to others. So all of these can become really challenging, which brings me to my next question. I appreciate that we're segueing into the point about challenges, right? So as student ambassadors, and having lived experience, you are students within the campus. I'm sure that not only do you experience challenges, but you also observe your friends or roommates or classmates also experiencing their own challenges when it comes to, as a student during their tenure in university. What are some of these challenges that you have observed students face?
Hello. So I would like to talk a bit on this, throw some light on this. So majorly, I really agree with Tanya, like the way the things has been put into the picture. So I would like to say that for me personally, as well as for my peers, whatever I have seen, like the thing is that adapting to a new environment is a very it's very like it's a very big reality which comes into the picture. Suddenly coming out of your comfort zone, and suddenly you're switching from the place where you have been. The dynamics is totally changed. Everything is new for a person. It literally puts you in a, like a pitch dark moment. So, and even I like in reading and researching. So, from which I came to know that nearly 60% of the college students experience this thing. Out of which 30% of them are actually facing this kind of loneliness in their life. So, it's not that fair with everyone what is happening. And also, which leads to like unfamiliar academics, academic pressure, social dynamics, and other difficult for some students to even adjust because like staying in a single place, suddenly switching, and rightly, ma'am told regarding the international students, yeah, even they also do face these issues. And but in talking to once we throw when we go a bit more deeper, it comes to the picture that in such situation, many students will try to seek validation. But in this validation, are they landing up in the right place? That really do matter. But engaging with, which results in the unhealthy environment. Unhealthy environment, which doesn't only just means going and talking to the people or a set of group like they do something bad. It's also about how you knowingly or unknowingly going to that social media thing, like always sitting alone, like digging inside social media, comparing yourself with someone else's life, and also like putting you in another loophole. So, and like there is a like the poor mental health vulnerability, peer pressure, and risk behavior. Everything do comes to the picture. And I will also like to say like the campuses which come with such initiatives. Like I'm also very proud to be one of the MHA. Where initiative mainly helps us to decrease about 25% of decrease in the students experiencing the severe psychological distress. And as I use coming with such initiatives and it's really going well, I'm really proud to be in part of that. So addressing this issue requires an environment where students feel safe. And yes, our campus do provide such space, but still we are in the process of how to make it more elaborative and come with new solutions. I think be more will be helpful in that. And by building a culture of support, college and can help adapt to more efficient and maintain their overall well-being. So ultimately, this can bring more light to the picture. Over to the discussion. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Vishnu, I really appreciate that you bring in the point of validation. This particular age is when we are developing our identity, and a lot of that identity is based on how we're received by others or viewed by others. And if there's a dependency on that validation, it can be very compromising because then we become extrinsically motivated, and so if it can affect self-esteem as well. And that's another thing that we see on our campuses is challenges with self-esteem and building identity. So thank you for that. Is there anyone who would like to add to this?
Yes, I would like to add to the point that Vishnu said about validation and the challenge that you mentioned, because in the whole process of seeking validation and maintaining an image, people forget who they really are. And the challenge here, the most primary challenge here, is to again come back to who you were and like just come back to the originality and realize what is the importance, what is your priority. People forget that because they want to maintain this image. If you have seen this movie called Kho Gaye Hum Kaha, which had a very 50% POV, but if you see the depth of it and if you see the basic meaning of that movie, you will realize how people get so involved in showing something which people want to see, other people want to see, that they forget the importance. So another thing, like coming to the very basics, when we come to college, we have so much to see, we have so much to learn. Apart from the academics, we have so many other responsibilities. So the challenge here is to balance all of it. That will only happen if we stay true to ourselves, because the more we get into showing something to others, trying to prove something to others, we get so involved in that loop that we forget what is actually important. So the challenge, definitely, I mean, it's quite challenging. People coming from very, very different places, people coming from all over the world, not just India, have very different perspectives on cultural and social backgrounds. Everybody has such different perspectives that people are shamed, people are judged upon. Okay, it's fine, it's okay to have a different perspective, but the least we can do is to accept what the other person is, or just let it be, let them be. The challenge here lies upon everybody is to not be a part of everything that is happening around you. We can just accept and just, I mean, the basic thing is let people be. It's okay, it's okay. I have come, I'm from a very small place called Jamshedpur, so things were very new for me. My challenge here was to adapt to it and to accept what I like, what I don't. People tend to forget that. People tend to either try to be somebody, or just they are so much engrossed in trying to be better that they forget who they have to be at the end of the day. So these are the few challenges that I feel need to be like worked upon.
I couldn't actually agree more because it is actually very important. You shouldn't lose sight of who you are. Being in this adventure and journey, as it is far away from home, it can be very difficult to like get caught up in it and forget who you were initially, and accepting the growth at the same time.
Really
True, true.
appreciate. I actually really
Even
appreciate the points that have been put forward by Vishnu and Prachi and Tanya about validation, about how to accept oneself with consciousness. But moreover, I would like to also highlight the financial pressure that we deal while we enroll in college. The expected ROI, we always expect our parents have put so much money on us, and we have to bring that ROI to them. Then that comes with the fear of failure, and then the parental expectations. And then we gradually see or compare ourselves, which then lead us to more uh, not it's an uncertainty where we land up, where we assume things more, and we fall into a very bad trap of overthinking. Then another thing I would like to highlight is the misunderstanding that we often have with our peers or our partners, which then is perceived as a bad perception in the environment. We think that every people is thinking about the same thing that he or she does. But mainly it's just a perception, or it could be just a small communication that could solve everything. Other than that, overcommitting, burning out on some small activities or stressful activities that actually your body isn't been ready to, that creates more mental pressure on your mind, and then it tends people to fall into bad activities. And then the most important thing, it gets hard to ask support, because after all, it's you victim blaming yourself that no, it has been happened to me, but you also think that it's because of me. And then that trap gets very extended, and it's unable, and it's uneasy to solve it in your own self and asking support to any of that person around you.
Even I would like to add to this. So I completely agree with the struggles that my fellow panelists have highlighted. But one thing that I would like to bring forth is that apart from, the academic pressure, the financial stress, and struggling to, find your people in and around the campus, I would like to dive into the nitty-gritties of the student life at a campus. So I believe that all these struggles that we've mentioned and we've talked about earlier kind of build up, and then some minor inconvenience happens to us, and we sort of it triggers a breakdown in us. I would like to give my example. So it was a very recent incident. So I was like sorting my laundry out and everything. So one day I could just not find one of the socks of a pair of socks, and that just triggered me, and I broke down. And I was like, how is it possible to break down on this? But then I realized that there are the nitty gritties, and there are the things that have already been built up, and this minor inconvenience can trigger all of that. So I believe that is one thing that students really struggle with. Another thing I feel is a really underrated struggle is the pressure to have fun. So everybody wants to have fun while everybody wants to be competitive, they want to excel academically. So I feel like when the picture that they had painted, that we would go to campus, we would go to college, we would have fun, and all the sparkly picture that everybody has in mind, when that doesn't show up as they imagined it, then it leads to pressure, then it leads to frustration, and then it leads to the turmoil that they have in their heads.
I actually really agree with what Khushi said, because when you say that, you have the pressure of having fun, so you actually forget that what your original pressure was. So if you are like pressurized because you have an assignment and you have a deadline to submit tomorrow, and you have that pressure, but you also want to have fun, so you are feeling FOMO, that is fear of missing out. So you are having that pressure of actually going out. You are having the pressure of saying no to your friends. You have so many things lined up that you actually forget what was important for you and what you were supposed to do. So that is actually a huge challenge. I really agree.
Yes, yes,
Also, I would like to highlight what Nachiket and Kushi said about burning out, and then so even giving my own example, I was in this loop sometime back where I used to let things build up till the last minute, and then there was this guilt on me that I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, and then I used to sit in that guilt. So that also comes along when you work for hours and hours, and then you stop because you're tired, and then the guilt comes in the picture. So
I really appreciate that all of you have shared personal anecdotes of what you've experienced. I think that a lot of our viewers will resonate with some of the things you shared, and this is the advantage of these discussions, is that we find out that we're not alone, and in fact, collectively we're experiencing similar things, and we might find support in that process. But the example of the sock, that's a Kushi that you also mentioned. It's very interesting because these minor inconveniences, when they add up, they can get really overwhelming. And as students, you're juggling between academics, extracurriculars, health, physical, mental, and emotional well-being, your academics, and of course your friendships, your relationships. All of that can be quite overwhelming, and then if you feel like you're not living up to your own expectations, that can create a lot of guilt, as Siddhi mentioned, and as Dia mentioned as well, and the others mentioned, that also the competitiveness comes in as well. And Nachiket also made an important point about that competitiveness and how that leads to unhealthy coping, and that's also something that we really have to highlight when we're building awareness. So clearly, we know that these challenges exist, and it is particularly, of course, challenges that exist across the board. But when we're talking about young people, adolescents, young adults, why do you think so many of these challenges are common amongst this age group?
So I would like to weigh in on that. So young people as a sample itself refers to the age group that is first itself going through changes, and second also adjusting to the world that has already been there before them. So as we get older, we realize that society, like what societal norms are, and we habituate ourselves to it accordingly without even realizing it. After we go past the young people phase, we see and realize many things because we learn from experience. So, but being in that phase, we have lots going on simultaneously. So it becomes tricky to work our way around it because everyone is different. And sometimes we forget that as we grow as a person, even the world does. So this is why these challenges are more prevalent in young people. Being in universities itself, in my particular university, amongst the youngest ones because I am 21 and there's a lot of age gap. Irrespective, no matter we're 30 or anyone, in this campus, I feel like age becomes obsolete because we're all here together as one. And we are still considered as young. So the age gap also has a different feeling being together. They have more experience, we have different experience. But over here in a university, we all come together as young, going through the same problems.
That is actually a very good question that ma'am asked. I think it is crucial that we assess the root cause of such issues. I've been working with the SCEW on my campus for about a few months now, and from what I've realized is that university students commonly face mental health challenges due to a mix of academic pressure, social changes, and personal development struggles. One major factor is the intense workload and expectations, which can lead to stress, anxiety, and even burnout sometimes. I've noticed many people feel pressure to excel in their studies while juggling with multiple things, such as whatever extracurricular activities they may have, whatever part time jobs they may be running, or even their personal social dynamics. Another key challenge, I think, is the transition to independence. For a long time, we have been confined to our parents' rules and guidelines, and suddenly we move to a space where we have the ultimate freedom. Moving away from home, managing finances, making important life decisions. These can be overwhelming, especially when all of it comes in at us at once. This period often coincides with identity exploration, which can lead to self doubt, loneliness, or even imposter syndrome. For some, the lack of a strong support system, especially if they're in a new city or a country, even, can contribute to feelings of isolation and depression. Plus, social media, a very crucial factor in our lives today, also plays a significant role. It creates an unrealistic comparison, making students feel inadequate or as if they're falling behind their peers, maybe in academics or their social life. Additionally, the stigma around mental health may prevent students from seeking help, even though we have resources readily available for us. So, this entire taboo of talking about mental health is always, especially in a country like India, is prohibited by the people around us, even though that may not be the actual case. Ultimately, these challenges are so common because university life represents a high stakes, transformative period, if you say, where we young people are balancing multiple stressors, multiple pressures, while still developing emotional resilience and coping strategies. So, I think these are some of the most important and common factors that influence our emotional health, and this is why we're reluctant to seek help.
Okay, so as Shashwat, rightfully pointed out the transition period, I believe that, the university marks as a first time for many of the things. Like it's our first time managing academics, first time managing finances, as someone earlier pointed it out, and first time taking all of these responsibilities, personal responsibilities on our own, and trying to make a learning curve. But as it's a first, the curve gets steeper and steeper. We are not able to locate how to work through it. And apart from that, there's a major pressure on our generation to succeed, that with the growing digital age, and everyone's seeing a lot of LinkedIn. I feel like everyone wants to do a lot of things at one period of time, that we want to do many things at once without thinking about the mental toll or the stress that it comes along with. So we don't want to, I feel like the with the amount of fears that I have and the experiences they fear face, I feel like people are very reluctant, that they can accept that they're going through a lot, but they're reluctant towards taking help. That okay, that we could reach out to someone to who can help us navigate through this process in a smoother way. And apart from that, I feel like with the competitive environment as it is today, there is a lot of pressure on figuring it all out on this early age, that we don't try to look beyond it, that we just want to have everything at once, and we don't want to give a lot of time and thought into how it can be a journey, rather than we want it into one single step.
Well, I think all your inputs are incredible, and to everyone's points, that clearly as a young person, you're at the cusp of, you're in the beginning stages of your adulthood, your young adult life, you're transitioning out of childhood, and as some of you mentioned, that you're entering an already existing world where other adults have their own structures and preferences, and you as a person are figuring out how to navigate that, whether some of your individual autonomy aligns to existing structures, or whether you want to adhere to your own individuality. There's so much to figure out, and especially if you're starting careers as well, that can be really tricky. So clearly, we've identified what are the challenges that young people face, and now we've got a really deep and broad sense of what that is, thanks to all of your inputs. Now, the next question that comes to mind is, what do we do about it? and what role do we play in tackling some of these challenges. And as ambassadors, we also, and as peers, as peer supporters in general, you need not be part of an ambassadors program, but just as a proactive student, what is it that we can do on our campus to create more compassionate and supportive spaces and to help students feel more supported in their mental health journey. So I'd love to hear from all of you what your ideas are and thoughts are on this.
I believe as a mental health ambassador, I think creating a compassionate campus involves a collection of tiny steps that can, create a larger impact. So again, I believe this one amazing implementation at all our Symbiosis campuses is the mental health ambassadors program. I think all of us here would like to agree with that. So I think it creates a more eased out environment for the students to, reach out for help, to ask for help, since they might think that, they're just reaching out to a peer and, like sometimes asking for help, asking for professional help makes them hesitant and because of the stigma that is there around it. So I think this is something that creates a very eased out environment. Another important thing I feel is to encourage faculty members to integrate, mental health considerations into their teaching practices. This maybe could involve, let's say, providing resources and workshops to the educators to understand that how the rigorous coursework impacts the students' well-being. And maybe we could create like a collaborative environment where the faculty is made aware of the dynamics, and there can be a well balanced academic and emotional well-being environment where everybody feels supported. So I think that is something that can empower students. And one more concern that I really want to address is the diversity and equality. And I believe I would specifically like to highlight the inclusion of people belonging to the queer community. I think it is extremely important for everyone to be educated on, how we can not only create a safe space for everyone, but also empower them in a way to explore their life as freely as they want it to be. So I think that is one really important way.
So, just adding on to what Khushi said, I truly, truly acknowledge what you said, and you're completely right on that. Plus, I guess I'm very much happy to be a part of this ambassador thing, because I have never seen so many activities in my campus. Because since that I have joined this ambassador, I have done many activities on my campus, and it has been amazing, from kindness activities to different sorts of activities. So I think there are two things from my end that I think would have been of a great help when I was a newcomer and when I had this sort of issues going on within myself. Firstly, uh, there should be some sort of support groups in newcomers. Like when I was new in the program, and for good 6 months, I was lonely. Like, I can state it clearly like that. I was really lonely, and I tried to talk to someone, but then it doesn't go well sometimes, right? So I think that this would really help. Like, we gather around students from different campuses or the same campus who don't know each other, and they just talk it out. Secondly, I think mental health sick days should be considered as the serious sick days rather than, you know, chalta hai, it's okay, you should come to the class. Rather than that, we should take mental health off days too seriously now.
Absolutely, well said, Siddhi, and great inputs. I mean, these are great ideas. Support groups can be a great space where we can share our thoughts and share our experiences with like-minded individuals. And I liked also the point that was earlier made about faculty, also including faculty into some of our initiatives. I think when we're talking about university mental health, we're not just we should not necessarily only talk from the lens of students, because we have so many stakeholders within a university setting. So we have everyone from housekeeping to staff to security to faculty to admin staff to coordinators, and we all play our part in building the community, building the culture within the community. And I think we all play a role in supporting each other, irrespective of your designation or your age. We can all show kindness to each other, and that's the parts we play in emulating some of these values. So when we want to talk about change, we can also start with ourselves. And I know as ambassadors, you really extend that compassion and empathy to all those around you. Would there be anyone who would like to add to this?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have a couple of points to add, as rightly told by my peers. Like, I really agree to what I said. But just think a bit out of the box, the scenario. Like, as we know, we all are in the drill of getting successful and everything. And our life is literally packed with lot of things. From starting from the morning till we land up into our own rooms. And especially in the B school, we know everything runs up in a very hectic scheduled way because somewhere or the other we are getting prepared, not just mentally but also even physically and emotionally. But here comes the bigger picture. Like, are we really getting the time to talk to everyone? Everything is happening instant in our life, right? From making a coffee itself starts with an instant thing. Everyone wants instant. From instant coffee, instant support, everything is instant. Nothing is like, no one is ready for to even go through that process of like, okay, we'll wait. Everyone wants an instant thing. But is it really possible throughout? It's always no. And another thing, like same thing, like again, everyone is busy with their own things. So once I went through a couple of articles, as I mentioned before, also about the 60% of the students are facing this kind of anxiety thing. So actually, there are some initiatives which has been taken. Some universities like the Stanford, they came up with the factor called the chatbot, as we know about the chatbot. Since I'm an engineer background guy and I'm more into techie side, so I like exploring these kind of things because everything for me works mainly with the database thing. What I try to do is like the bridging the gap. For example, suddenly if a guy or a girl, I mean him or her, suddenly coming up tonight and feels like at this time I cannot reach out. There are circumstances scenario where we cannot reach out to even our close friends because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Suddenly everyone is going to their bed. Even I am having a kind of assignment has to be completed. He or she might be not comfortable to reach out. What if we come with some kind of tech just to bridge? For example, morning he or she can go and meet the MHA, like they can come and visit us in within the campus or the concerned people. But that gap and that time they're giving, what can we say, the kind of closure, or how can be bridged with the help of kind of chatbots which has been actually used in Stanford. It's not a voibot if you can just serve on the net. It's actually written in the Journal of Medical Internet Research paper 2022, and it also says that it reduces around 32% of people from getting this reduction. Then we didn't even cover one part of the people, that is like physically challenged people. Actually, those are the one of the major area which we should also focus. Actually, they some and more, like even I have one of my peer who's like going, but somewhere or the other, I literally learn a lot of things, how to be confident, how to be motivated, a lot of things. Somewhere or the other, I feel like there are studies which also seem like coming up with the VR therapy rules, because we most of us even does not even know what is the kind of relaxation is about, what is meditation, because we don't have time, because again running in that cat mouse and race like about the instant things. So coming up with something related to tech just to bridge the gap. I know AI is not going to, it cannot replace a human being. That's AI at the end. But somewhere, if it can help, if we can use the technology wisely, we can come with some solution. Yeah, that's from my side. Thank you.
I actually agree with Vishnu because that's a very nice futuristic point of view worth considering. Considering the fact that AI is the new trend and it's up and coming, so we should completely take advantage of it. And this is actually also good mindful technique for in case like any portable help we would need, like you said, if we don't get access. So as per what further we could do on campus is, I feel more psychological workshops could be fun and could be more interesting for personal growth and development, like for self compassion workshops where we teach students how to love themselves, because being in such a competitive environment, you're bound to like hate yourself, compare yourself with others, and go through that. So it's better to have a workshop where you love yourself, you're taught to love yourself, you learn how to manage stress and manage time, etc. All of these fun workshops, because A normal PPT or a presentation or a lecture could be boring for anyone, but an interactive workshop could be very interesting, could make you realize so many things about yourself that you didn't even know. So I believe that these kind of workshops should also happen at the beginning of any course in any university, because through this you can also include individuality or personality, free expression. So everyone gets to know each other, gets to know what everyone has in common, so you can approach people accordingly. If you realize that a person is struggling with social cues, then you maybe help understand them, help them understand what social cues are. So we help each other grow, build a supportive environment. As well as another specific point that I would like to bring forth is how counseling sessions should be a must. Only the first counseling session should be a must for every student. The second session onwards must be voluntarily if the student wants to, but at least to try to see if it's something that you would like or something that would help you. A first counseling session should be uniformly compulsory for every student, so that this also destigmatizes what everyone says, that, oh my God, he or she is going to therapy. Oh my God, are they okay? Or shaming them, ki, damn, they need therapy. But if everyone has to go, there's nothing that can be said to it. And after that, everyone goes, they know what it's about and they understand more deeply into it rather than what the thought process of it could be outside. So, like that, like how Khushi said, you should also do these counseling sessions with faculty, because they are also as important as us. They are also humans. They also require personal development, growth, and something adding on to their teaching journey with us. So, like that, I feel everyone could benefit from something like this. Like for example, when you talk about physical fitness, you go to gym. Now, the first day you go to the gym is always the hardest. You have to push yourself. After that, it's a cakewalk because it becomes a habit. Same way for mental fitness, I believe that one counseling session should be a must to try. After that, going or not going would be the choice. So I feel like these things would be effective, and if it would be uniformly done, it would be greatly beneficial.
I
Wow,
actually
some very
agree.
interesting examples. Yes, Prachi, go ahead.
I actually really agree with what Tanya said, and of course all the others. Because who does not want to be Sharma ji ka beta? Everybody wants to be Sharma ji ka beta, but who wants to be compared to Sharma ji ka beta? Nobody. But does this happen? It happens to every other house, and not just houses. Now comparison has been a thing which you do on a regular basis. Every individual, be it student, be it teacher, be it households, anybody, people are so engrossed in comparing that they forget that they need to be compassionate enough to appreciate what the other people are doing, and how if somebody is succeeding, what if we just take a moment to appreciate that? If we do appreciate that, that will give us a sense of calmness. We will understand that, okay, wow, this is something which is amazingly done by other people. That sets a motivation in our minds. What happens if we compare? When we compare, we are always stressed. So, one way to create a compassionate environment is to work on our individual selves, and rather than comparing, celebrate what other people are doing or just accept it. So, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think some amazing points coming up with be it technology. So as Vishnu suggested, leveraging technology to support now. That's the new trend is AI and leveraging that to support mental health in terms of apps or in terms of different avenues in which people can feel connected, whether that's self compassion exercises and activities, whether it's reminding ourselves to be kind to ourselves, managing our self talk, and not comparing ourselves to each other. I think all of these are incredible. Psychological first aid was another example. And it's wonderful to hear these points. I know many of you are already playing out some of these interventions in campus. And, I'd like to hear some more suggestions. I am mindful of the time, so we will close very shortly. But again, I mean, if there's anyone who would like to add to this in terms of the role that universities can play in supporting students' mental health and prioritizing well-being, we'd love to hear from you as for some closing thoughts.
Yes, ma'am. So I have something to say about what university or how university can help us on this topic. So when we talk about our discussion of university mental health, we put more emphasis. We can put more emphasis on the university too. Why? because they are the ones who can provide the empathetic environment for the students. Now, most of the students, as Tanya rightly said, no one's here for any other sessions. So the interactive workshops are really helpful, but you have to observe what's the student behavior on the events. We begin with our topic of validation, which was being said by Mr. Vishnu. And I would like to highlight an example that we have done, that we did just, I think, 1 year ago for anti-bullying event. We put a stall of posters where we put a preamble of that anti-bullying, and we invited students that if you would agree, please just sign it, because we want to see that how much people of them are actually interested and take part on this activity. People weren't coming at that point of time because they just empathetically, I can also feel them because there are a lot of academic stress, event stress. People don't tend to follow these kind of activities. But when we said them that we have something for you at the end of the event or that task, they were little bit curious. And what happened next is that they get a note where there was a ball. We put 50 chits. Those chits was filled with a self motivation thought. It was a compliment to themselves that how much, like for example, how much life gets hard. We know that you have the potential to make it through the best out of any situation, and that made them smile. In fact, people were coming and telling what who had this idea, because after it was a validation and acknowledgement that was being needed. So these kind of empathetic and understanding and listening attitude of the university also could play an important role. Other than that, student demand is sometimes just peaceful activities. It could be related to yoga, but then it could be also related to some Zumba or DJ. So after every event, we manage that. Okay, people actually like that and they love it. It actually impacts their mental health, as we can see in the numerous of stories that people are enjoying with any like without any regrets, because they just have a couple of minutes to just release it out everything. So yes, we manage that also, like universities can manage that also. And hence we can hence university, with the help of the support groups too, they can see the positive side of the social well-being and emotional well-being of the students that they hang around, other than the toxic groupism and other stress busters, peer pressure. They can see that side of the university too. And yes, like this, I would like to conclude on this, that these are the measures which university can apply for this situation.
Yeah, Nachiketa, I appreciate you bringing up anti-bullying. So 15th March happens to be Anti-Bullying Day, and I think that's important that we highlight that, because I know as students you've carried out several interventions on your campuses to prevent bullying, to raise awareness, and to empower students with information. And as students, you also embody certain values, and we play a role in stepping in if we see bullying. And of course, within our university structures, we have systems in place to protect students. But I see that you've carried out several activities, and it's heartwarming to know that it's been received well by students. So thank you for sharing that here. We'll end with one or two more comments. I'm very mindful of the time, so we'll just take a few minutes more and close our session. I do. Do we have any one or two more comments?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I agree with everything that Nachiket said, and I really appreciate his insight. Um, what I feel is that university is not just about educating, it's more about becoming. And a university's role is also to support the people it educates. Somewhere in this process, all of us, the students, we are carrying more than just books and deadlines. If a university exists to shape futures, then mental well being must be a priority. Because I don't think that any kind of future can be built on a foundation of exhaustion, anxiety, or the silent sufferings. So, even mental health is not always visible. It's in the student who starts skipping classes, the one who laughs with friends, but when he or she is all alone, they feel completely alone. And that's why well-being cannot be treated as an afterthought or a checkbox. It must be a priority. Mental health in university is not just about having counselors on campus or organizing awareness events or maybe fixing struggles, but that is extremely important. But we need to also focus on preventing students from feeling alone in them. See, the truth is that not everyone can come up and say that I need help, but no student should ever have to feel like they have to wonder, would anyone actually care if I did need help? So universities need a system where trained student teams as well as counselors can identify the early signs of distress, no matter how small or big they are. And I am really happy that Symbiosis has already incorporated the system. And because mental health does not come in extremes, it is not black and white, but it rests in the middle. It exists in the gray areas. The quiet discomforts or the subtle ways in which people start to withdraw. And if we wait for students to hit that rock bottom before we offer the support that they need, then we have already failed them. It's it's really very hard for someone struggling to accept that yes, I do need help or I might need help. So maybe the first step does not have to be asking them to come up and speak up. It's maybe about giving them a space where they can feel safe enough to take their time and take things on their own pace and just follow the flow of their heart, because healing is not immediate and no university can take away the struggles that come with life, and even no person can take those away. you know all those thorns and the steep paths, the tough paths. But what we can offer, what a university can do, is to offer them a warm and steady soul to walk on. Because, see, at the end of the day, universities are preparing students for the world. And the world does not just demand knowledge, it demands much more: resilience, emotional strength, and the ability to take care of oneself. So, prioritizing mental health is not just limited to a better student experience, it's about better lives, long, long after our graduations.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you for that, Shambhavi. Okay, I think I see Prachi wanting to say something. Okay, really quick because I know we're over time. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so firstly, I really appreciate what our university is doing personally, be it counseling services, online, offline, and even on calls, emergency services, support groups for several topic of discussions, peer supports, MH ambassadors who can help other people, counseling, workshops, faculty training. However, there are certain things that I really agree with what other people said, like Siddhi said about, how there should be support groups from first year. I totally agree because first year, people are more adaptable to things. So if this happens from first year, people will actually adapt to the change and they will be a part of these groups. They will have views. They will get a chance to enhance their own views. Coming to the part where these some things should be compulsory, like what Shambhavi mentioned and what Nachiket mentioned. I feel one thing that could be done is directly associating these two classes and making it compulsory attendance, because if we have to give them something, the most something which every student really wants is attendance, and everybody has to finish the deadline of 75% per se. So in that case, if we associate this to attendance, they will of course be a part of it. And of course, people don't know the importance of these things, so until they don't experience it, they will never know. So once they experience it, only then they'll understand and they'll get more into it. One last point which I would like to mention is soft skills. Like Shambhavi said, that there is so much more to it. I feel soft skills is one thing which lacks in most of the people, be it resilience, be it time management, be it so many people management. All this comes under soft skills. So soft skills should be a compulsory subject for each class, and people will learn so much more to it. And of course, that will lead to a lot of people will get a lot of help out of this, and they will be better themselves, and of course they will get a lot of help. So I conclude by saying that. Thank you.
Wonderful. I mean, excellent points. A lot of food for thought, and I appreciate we also had so much representation. We also, having different people, different students from different campuses representing a different city within India. So we have pan India representation, but also within genders. I appreciate, Vishnu and Shashwat and Nachiket as well to represent the male population in our campuses. I think it's also very important to highlight that that everyone has access to mental health support and should reach out for support irrespective of who you are, where you're from. But I think very important points that you've all made, be it support groups, be it raising awareness, whether it's integrating into curriculum, making it compulsory within curriculum. All of these things are also things that SIU is carrying out. So thank you for all your suggestions and all of the inputs today. I think it was really interesting to hear your inputs. And what we'll do now is I think we'll conclude for today. I know we're running over time. So I'll wrap up this discussion. I just want to end this session by sharing a quote by the World Health Organization, which is that there is no health without mental health, and holistic growth and healing require that we focus not only both on physical but also mental health as well, because mental health is not a destination, it's an ongoing journey, as many of you have pointed out, that it doesn't end as a student, it carries on through your life, and it requires awareness, support, and collective effort, and that universities play a crucial role in shaping not just the academics but also the emotional well-being of students. And when we foster these open conversations, create safe spaces, empower students through initiatives like the ambassador programs, we can ensure mental well-being becomes a priority. And so we hope that today's dialogue has sparked reflection for our viewers and that it encourages meaningful conversations, and we're all inspired to take action, whether by supporting a friend, whether advocating for mental health, or most importantly, practicing compassion towards ourselves or even to others. And both, in fact, one influences the other, and a change begins with awareness, and together with collective effort, we can build a culture of compassion. So, thank you to all our ambassadors for your dedication and insights. It was truly interesting to listen to you speak, and to everyone on our campuses for engaging in today's conversation, whether it's students, administrative staff, faculty, housekeeping, everyone is contributing through acts of kindness. I would also like to take a moment to thank our SKU team and three counselors in particular, Sakshi, Aditi, and Mrunal, who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Their efforts behind the scenes has made this event possible. So, Sakshi, Aditi, and Mrunal, I would like you to just unmute and say hello to the group.
Hello, team. Nice to see you. I would also like to, extend my gratitude towards Tyra ma'am for being an amazing facilitator and bringing up such interesting questions and encouraging an in-depth discussion with the panelists. And I would like to extend gratitude towards the students for, participating in the University Mental Health Day event. And each one of you has been extremely enthusiastic since the first day, and no doubt you all have had played an important role in this webinar. So yes, I mean, this webinar from you helps us to understand you, regardless of you being in different campuses and having different courses. You all have had such similar emotional experiences that you all have been through, and this panel discussion was so important and insightful because now we know how students feel and how we can support them in this journey. So that's towards the gratitude towards you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Is Aditi there?
Yes, I think it was a really great discussion. I think we as counselors learned a lot about student struggles, mental health struggles. I think it'll help us as well. And I think that when we came up with the idea of the webinar, this is what we were going for, to sort of get everyone involved and to understand as a group what students go through regarding their mental health. So yes, I think everyone did a great job, and yeah.
Thank you, Aditi. I'm not sure if we have Mrunal here. I know she's
Yeah.
Are
I'm
you
there,
there?
but I'll
Okay,
unable,
go
I'll
ahead.
not be able to turn on the camera.
No
So
worries.
first of all, thank you, Taida ma'am, for believing us to work in the backend, and also all the ambassadors. Amazing and insightful points you all have covered. Those points will be a great help for us also to help out our students, and really proud of having amazing MHAs.
Thank you.
Also, thank you, Tahida ma'am, for hosting this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrinal. And a special thanks to our entire SKU team and our SKU coordinator who also worked tirelessly to support our students, and our deputy head, Dr. Rahul Bagle, who is in fact leading many of our initiatives on our campuses. So he is the one who encouraged that we have this webinar today. So many thanks to him, and also extend my appreciation to our head, Dr. Girija Mahale, for her leadership and vision in driving this mission forward. And so let's continue working together to make our campuses places where every student, staff member, and faculty member feel seen, heard, and supported. And with that, we conclude today's session. So we wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you, and stay tuned for other activities and webinars in the future.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It
Thank
was
you,
a pleasure.
ma'am.
Uh, Team, are you still on? Sir, just hold on. MHA, stay back. Sir, can we stop the recording and the live streaming? Okay, I'll stop recording. What I'd like to do is, I'm not sure if the live streaming has stopped also. Is there a way to stop the live streaming?
Ma'am, I think it's still
It's still,
streaming.
yeah. Maybe if one of us can call IT. So what I'll do is I'll quickly put us on spotlight. We'll take a quick group picture. Is that okay? Okay. Let me. That's okay if it's still running. That's fine.